Mr. Bennett, in the 8 years that you've been the principal at the high school, Coach Redding has been an employee, is that right?
Correct.
And he's had good evaluations every year, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he's been a steady employee every year.
I don't know what you mean by steady.
Well, I mean, he shows up for work. You didn't have any issues about his attendance at school before that you ever wrote him about, did you?
Now, let me, for the record, if you want to get into that, we're not supposed to, we deliberately haven't, but Marcia, if you want to get into that, we're ready to.
All right.
He's not the superintendent.
Oh, okay, okay. Mr. Bennett, did you ever put in writing anything to Mr. Redding about his attendance at school other than this year?
No, ma'am.
All right, now, let's talk about this year, if we can. Before the school year started, where the students showed up at school August 15th, were you contacted by Mr. Redding about some surgery he had?
I know you called me about being sick and not being there. Yes.
Okay. Did he call you before the in-service days began?
I believe you did.
And in fact, he called you in July of 2011 to tell you that the surgery that was planned for July 2011 had been moved to August. Isn't that right?
You mentioned that, yes.
And that he had no control over that. The doctor had moved the surgery. Is that right?
I believe so.
And did he talk with you at that time about he didn't know how long his recovery would take?
After the surgery, ma'am.
Yeah, he didn't know how long it would take. So at any time did you tell him if you're going to be missing any school days, we might want to do this pursuant to the Family and Medical Leave Act?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, each teacher gets a certain number of days per year by law.
Correct.
And that's according to the sick leave law. And that would be 10 years, is that right?
No, 10 days.
10 years.
I'll take it.
Really? 10 days.
10 days per week.
Okay, in the, some years, some teachers have more illnesses than they do days. Would that be a fair statement?
There are a few days.
Okay. And they then can also draw from what's called the sick leave bank.
Correct. Under the conditions that stated in sick leave, ma'am.
Okay, and those are extra days that other teachers have donated to the sick leave bank
Correct.
for those times when things come up that nobody expects, like chemotherapy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And those are times when the teachers may miss more days than the 10 allotted days for the school year. Is that right?
Would you rephrase that question?
The sick leave bank is for those situations where something may come up and a teacher needs more than 10 days for school year because of that teacher's absences.
Correct.
And isn't it true that for the sick leave bank this year, there were individuals who missed more school days than Mr. Redding?
I can't answer that right now.
Okay, because you're not a member of the sick bank, are you?
Yes, ma'am. I am.
Okay. But doesn't the sick bank approve people who apply for the sick bank days?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you would have received those documents, would you not?
Yes.
That email
I
said,
don't keep track of how many people, how many days in this.
all right, okay. But that would be significant if somebody asked for 17 days, wouldn't it?
Depending on what the reason is.
Well, so let's talk about the reasons. If in fact someone is actually ill, let's say they have strep throat, which is contagious, do you want that person to be at school?
Common sense says no, ma'am.
All right. And at any time, did you ask Mr. Redding, did you ask Coach Redding, please bring me a document from your doctor because I don't trust that what you're telling me is the truth?
No, ma'am, I think too.
All right. Because Coach Redding is an honest individual, isn't he?
As far as I know.
In your 8 years of dealing with him, he's been honest, hasn't he?
As far as I know.
And in your letter to him, you didn't say, if you miss any days and don't bring me a doctor's excuse or
No, I
note.
did not.
Okay. Now, the note from Lucas's doctor that was referred to under tab 14, would it be appropriate, wait a minute, under tab 15, wouldn't that be appropriate for that letter?
Well,
Wouldn't it be appropriate?
Which number, I'm sorry, you got me.
Okay, number 15, the December 5 letter, 2011 for
It's
Willow
not under
Street.
15 an hour. I have a copy of it here, Marcia.
Yeah, it's under 15 an hour, but you have to go in a few pages. Past the Ozark Mountain, Mendoza Road, the Creek page, past Harrison Medicrick, over to Willow Street.
Let's see. Yeah, we got it.
Okay? Wouldn't that document be required to be given to the elementary school principal where Lucas was going to school?
yeah, I have no need for his son's action to his.
All right. But if Mr. Redding, if Coach Redding is the one taking Lucas to the doctor, did you want him to provide you a copy of that?
He never offered that. I never saw this until today.
The question was, did you ask or want him
No,
to
I
give
did
you a
not
copy?
No, I did not ask.
All right. You trusted what he was telling you, did you not?
He never,
You didn't think he was lying about taking Lucas to the doctor, did you, Mr.
no,
Redding?
I did not.
And you're in an uncomfortable position, aren't you?
He said it in my ear.
All right. And isn't it true that at the beginning of the year, what Mr. Redding missed was 5 in-service days of school at first?
Correct.
And he was notifying you throughout August that he was having complications during surgery. Is that right?
I knew it was his practice.
Because he was having chronic nosebleeds that would not stop. Isn't that right?
I don't know, I never saw him this week.
But that's what he told you.
I don't know, I know he's having problems.
All right. And nobody said, go ahead and take family and medical leave back.
No, ma'am.
Okay, now, wouldn't the situation be the same if he had taken family and medical leave back?
I can't assume that.
I mean, he still would have gone out of those days. He
I
still,
can't assume.
have you dealt with family and medical leave absences before?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Okay, so you can't make the comparison then. Okay. Now, if teachers are ill, they're to notify you as soon as possible, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, would you agree that after Coach Redding got your letter, and y'all were talking about his absences, that he told you that he had somebody that could take Lucas to his
Yes,
appointments?
it is. Yes, ma'am.
And he had made arrangements for his son, who was off the pipeline now, to take Lucas to those appointments, right? So he had made arrangements to minimize that. Did he also tell you his wife was being moved to a different job where she would not have to travel out of town and could be available to take Lucas?
I don't remember if he said that. So,
Okay, so you knew in fact he was taking what steps he could. He advised you in November what steps he was taking to make sure that he didn't miss as many days, is that right? After that letter in November, did you ever say anything else to him in writing
no, ma'am, I did not.
that he was missing too many days, that he had not adequately remedied what you'd asked him to remedy? So this wasn't your idea to recommend his non-renewal, was it?
I gave the letter about the number of absences he had.
But you did not tell him you were going to recommend non-renewal, did you, at any time?
That's not my problem. It's Trent.
That's Mr. Trammell's
Yes,
decision.
ma'am.
Now, regarding the after you got the letter on November 18th, and if we look at the documentation of the sick leave under tab 14, there are several pages of that, but what I'd like to do is go to the third page. Where it seems to indicate the reasons. Was this a form that you had filled out as the absences occurred?
Are you talking about where it says sick child, that kind of stuff?
Yes.
I kept notes in my journal for sick days.
Okay, great. So if we look at after your
He did not say this was his, I'm going to object to ask him about this, he didn't say it was his.
have you seen this document before?
No, ma'am?
Okay. Are we going to object to the same document that you have, Mr. Brazel, in your exhibits?
No, but he's not the witness, this is the guy that can tell you about it.
But they've already been submitted to the board. So
Well, but
there
not
is-
discussed. He's going to discuss it.
Well, I know, but I'd like to ask Mr.
And
Bennett.
I told you, this is the first time I've seen this document.
All right, so, Mr. Bennett, on the other two documents from that, preceding that, have you seen those documents?
No, I have not.
Okay.
He's not generic from my office.
Gotcha. Can you recall if after you gave Mr. Coach Redding the letter in November, if he had any more extended day absences after that?
And define extended.
If he had any absences that were longer than 1 day?
I believe it was a couple of it was 2 or 3 days.
In the second, after that November?
I believe so. I'd have to look at my records too.
Okay, and you don't have your records here. Okay. So we're going to be relying on Mr. Trammell's documentation as to the dates then. Because you don't have your own records with you, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the substitutes that y'all get for the teachers, if you're going to be absent a day and you don't know ahead of time you're going to be sick, aren't there supposed to be lesson plans for those substitutes to use?
It's supposed to be.
Okay. And aren't you as principal required to make sure the teachers have lesson plans?
Yes, ma'am.
And as part of your duties this year, did you ensure that the lesson plans were ready in case an individual teacher had been sick?
They handle lesson plans in once a week.
All right. And did Coach Redding do that?
He got caught back up. It's probably the middle of first semester.
All right. But you didn't say anything bad about that in his evaluation, did you? All right. And so you didn't say anything to him in writing about the subs don't have anything to do in your class, did you?
With PE and stuff, no, I did not.
Okay, and why not?
Right?
Why not?
Because the subs to keep in order, the kids were absence taken care of, and they were in the gym either playing basketball or playing kickball. Basically, what the kids do.
Okay, so the sub was doing what the coach had them do anyway in those PE classes, is that right? Okay, and in the health classes, were there lesson plans?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, and did you ask for them?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay, so if in fact the coach were ill,
It's the teacher's responsibility to have the lesson plans there.
and if they're not there, then it's the principal's responsibility to make sure they're there. But,
I'll take that, yes.
okay, but that apparently wasn't an issue because you never mentioned it to Coach Redding in writing in any way.
No, I did not.
Okay. And the substitutes don't usually just let, I know what Mr. Brazel said, of course, he's a lot older than most of us are in here, and he may remember.
Not you.
He may remember substitutes a lot differently than when I was in school, but the substitutes are supposed to more than keep are they not? They're supposed to try and implement the school lessons as they are that day, or the school activities, is that right?
To the best of their ability.
All right. And they have to have a high school education, and you call your substitutes to make sure that they're steady and responsible. And in fact, a substitute can even teach